Once upon a time, in the evergreen village of Umochi, there lived a prince named Akanum. He came from a long lineage of kings who were both brave and highly feared. His father, and the fathers before him, had gone to war and always came back victorious. And this was no different from Akanum. His father had wrestled a lion and kept it as his pet. From an early age, he would go for trainings with his dad, who was so proud of his only son. By the time he was 20, he had fought as many wars as his counterparts, who were 10 years older than him. In the same village, there lived a girl known as Lola. She was very pretty, kind, but not loved by everyone. This is because no one had known where she had come from. She had appeared one day in their village, bruised with torn clothes, and rumors had it that she had probably been excommunicated from her village. The king had ordered no harm to befall her, as she was of no threat, he said. She lived in a hut far away from the rest, and her only friends were the birds she interacted with in her little farm by the river. No one ever talked to her, and neither was she invited to the annual festivities. She was seen as an outcast. One day, Prince Akanum left with his troops to go to war against a neighboring village. As usual, their fight was victorious, and as they set to come back, unfortunately the prince got cut by a poisonous herb on his foot. His body became unconscious, and his soldiers had to carry him back home. As the news spread of the prince's health, the people grew concerned because, for one to get the antidote, they had to cross the Great Seven Rivers and come back with a jar of water from each river. Moreover, each river was believed to have a test that not everyone could pass. With a heavy heart, the king made a declaration that anyone who would go to the 7 rivers and come back with 7 jars of water would be heavily rewarded. However, this did not move the villagers, as everyone feared for their life. In the commotion of the meeting, Lola, who had attended but stood on the far end, pushed her way to the front. She walked to where the prince lay and stood facing the king. "I'm going to go on this journey and bring back the 7 jars." Silence ensued, and everyone's mouth was agape. Surely this tiny girl could not survive the journey.
She won't even make it to the first river,
they said. However, nothing was going to deter Lola's determination. After receiving the king's blessings, she set out to the 7 rivers, armed with only a bag of apples and water. However, due to the scorching heat, she had drunk all of her water before she came to the first intersection. Water, 500 km, H2O 50 m. Being the intelligent girl she was, she took the right intersection, and barely 50 meters in, she found the first river. She drew water for the prince first, before drawing water for herself. All of a sudden, the trees before her opened, and she saw the other 6 rivers. A voice was heard saying that because she had sacrificed to get the prince jar full, before quenching her own thirst, she had solved the other 6 riddles with her kindness. She happily filled the other 6 jars before setting her journey back. The people were amazed to see her back after only 3 days, a journey that often took 3 months. She sat down to give the prince a sip of the 7 jars, and after 7 days, he was healed. The king called her to ask for the reward she would like to receive, and with a smile she said,
"Pass it on to the next stranger. Let your people be kind to them, and not hostile. You never know where your helper will come from. I was just a luck sent to your village. By tomorrow noon, I might be a luck in another."
And true to her words, the next noon, there was no trace of her. Only her farm and hut stood on the hills. Even the birds were gone. Moral of the story: not all guardian angels have wings. Some come in the shape of a strange bruised young woman.